And hello, everybody, and welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator in 2020. This is the latest and greatest flight sim game, I think, to ever grace this planet. And what a year for a flight simulator game to come out when not much flying is happening anywhere in the world at the moment. So here we are. This is going to be our Microsoft Flight Simulator preview. I'm going to do a bit of a flight around my hometown, see what's what, and a bit of an introduction to this glorious sim. Prior to this video, I've only done one mess around with it for about an hour, which was about 12 hours ago. But yeah, so let's press any key to start and we'll get into it. Oh, where's the any key? Ah, that's right. So we'll load now in and get to the front menu. I just wanted to show you guys those glorious opening sequences. It's hard to believe that this game is, well, that it's a game, that the graphics are so photorealistic. So, yeah. Now we have our content manager here checking for updates, which I know there'll be none because I test preloaded this before recording to make sure that we didn't get held up by any updates. So now we're faced with a glorious loading screen. I'm not sure where in the world that is, but it looks very, very beautiful. We are, of course, running this on our new editing PC, which I have a video for on the channel. Running a Ryzen 9 3900X, 16 gig of DDR4 3200 MHz RAM, and a GeForce RTX 2080 Ti. I'm running the game in ultra settings, and so far haven't noticed the frame rate as being horrible or anything, which I wouldn't want it to be after spending this amount of money on this computer. So here we are. Here is the opening screen for Flight Simulator 2020. So we're not going to worry about too much here. We've got the world map. This is obviously where you go in to do a custom sandbox flight anywhere in the world to anywhere in the world. This is a live event challenge, which I guess they rotate in and out. The current challenge is to land on this tiny airstrip in the middle of the hills using the Robin DR400-100 Cadet. It looks interesting to do, but not for this introduction. Of course, we have the flight training, which is where you can go through here and do all of the 8 basically training exercises using a Cessna, I think 152 or 172. Let's just click into the first one there and have a look. So it's in a Cessna 152. And this is great to do if you're even a seasoned pilot or returning pilot or definitely a beginner pilot, as it familiarizes you with how the planes operate in the game. As of course, it is extremely lifelike the way they operate, but it's not absolute in its lifelikeness. So that's the training missions, which I will no doubt do at some point myself in the future, but I was a pretty big Flight Simulator X fan and did a lot of flying in that, so I'm hoping I can just get by for this introduction and, I will upskill myself more in this version of the simulator as time goes on, of course. So next we have the activities here, which again we have our landing challenge that we looked at before, and we have our bush trips. So this is a particular thing you can do where you fly based on the description they give you and visuals rather than any kind of flight path, and you try and fly all the particular legs of the trip for completion. So that's an interesting thing to do as well. So a bit of structured content if you don't want to go completely sandbox, but I don't know why you wouldn't want to in this glorious sim. And then of course up here we have the options menu for control, assistance, and general. In general, we have everything from graphics to camera to sound to traffic to data. Everything you could possibly want. And I've just noticed here the frame rate limit is at 60 FPS. I think... Oh, its maximum is 60 FPS. Okay. Guess we'll be leaving that on. I'll turn VSync off though. Actually, yes, turning VSync off will give us option for higher frame rate. We're of course on ultra graphics because we're running an RTX 2080 Ti, so I think that gives us full license to use ultra graphics, temporal anti-aliasing, and everything else is pretty well maxed. There's nothing that isn't on or ultra. We have camera options, sound options, aviation traffic options, which I've set to real time. Airport life, airport vehicle density, ground traffic worker density, rah, all at 50, that's fine with me. Data, I have an unlimited data cap, so it doesn't matter how much data I use, hence I have no limit set, but it's good that they allow you to do this, just in case you do have a limited data on your internet. Flight model, modern, miscellaneous, yep, accessibility, and developers. So you can turn developer mode on from the menu, that's interesting. I have to play around with that later and see what that does. We're going to discard changes. Oh, no wait, we don't want to discard changes because we want to turn VSync off. So we'll apply and save, go back. As far as assistance goes, this is basically the menu which you're telling Flight Simulator how much you want it to hold your hand. I've got it all set to medium at the moment, or mid-range, because at the end of the day, I'm new to this particular version of the game, but I'm not such a noob that I need ultra holding your hand. But it's nice that they give you the option here to adjust what you do or do not want to be having your hand held on, to put it plainly. So there's that. And of course there's controls. And it would appear that it has... my flight stick is not here, which is a bit annoying. And just looking down at my flight stick now, I notice that the red light's not on, so I might want to fix that. So anyway, I'm just going to go back to the main screen, the welcome screen, and I'll see you guys back here in just a second. And welcome back everybody through the magic of video editing. This time I have my flight control stick and it is plugged in. So we'll go into the options, check controls, and there it is. This, everybody, is my T-Flight Stick X from Thrustmaster. Exactly what you see in this little photo here is exactly what I have right in front of me that I will be using to control the aircraft. So the only other thing I want to do while I'm in the options is go to the sound and turn the aircraft engines down a bit so they don't interfere too much, but you guys can still hear them. And just turn music down a tad as well. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. Go back to the welcome screen, and as you can see in the top left hand corner, I have enabled Msi Afterburner, so you guys can see the performance impacts on my machine of how this game is running. As I said before, I have a Ryzen 9 3900X, 16 gig of DDR4 3200 MHz RAM, and an RTX 2080 Ti, so it's going to be interesting to see how much resources this game does use, bearing in mind I'm running it on ultra settings in 1440p. You may ask, why am I not running it in 4K? Well, the simple answer is I don't have a 4K monitor. A 2K monitor is the highest resolution I can go, so that's what we're going to do. So without further ado, let's jump into the game. We've had enough of poking around the menus here. So this is the world map, and this is where you can see and spin around the globe and choose absolutely anything or anywhere that you would want to fly to or from, or vice versa. Whatever takes your fancy. So yeah, where is our flight going to be leaving from and going to today on this introductory? I will show you. So this is Australia, and as you may or may not know, PC Tech and Gaming and myself, we are based in Australia. Where in Australia are we based? We are based on the little island at the bottom, known as Tasmania, which is this island here. So Tasmania more specifically is the big island. And where do I live? I live in Hobart, which is the capital city of Tasmania. And that's the airport we're going to be launching off from, Hobart International Airport. So, yeah, before we set up the airport though, I want to choose what aircraft we're flying in. We are going to fly in a Cessna 220. We are going to fly in this Textron Aviation Cessna 208B Grand Caravan EX. And that is going to be our vehicle of choice. It's only one livery, 50% fuel is fine, we're going to have no failures, and we're going to have a tail number of A326. Just because I feel like it. So that's going to be the aircraft. Flight conditions. We're going to go for live weather and time. So, yes, as you can see, this is the time we're recording it. Which is actually, that's showing UTC time. But we're on Eastern Standard Time over here. So I'm recording this at 3:34 PM in the afternoon. And yes, the live weather conditions I see outside is going to be what you guys get to see in the game. So that's pretty cool. There's also other options here. You can preset and turn the weather to whatever you want. We have options here for air traffic to be live or AI or off. We're going to have it as live traffic because that's just seems more cool. As to multiplayer, we're just going to leave that off because we're kind of just doing our own thing. So back to the globe, we're going to set our departure airport as Hobart. And on the runway, yep, we're going to take off. And where are we going to fly to? I figure we might fly to another airport in Tasmania. There's lots of little airports, little grass strips that you can kind of see. Oh, including the airstrip here up in Darlington on Mariah Island. But I figure for this we will go to the second major city in Tasmania, known as Launceston. There we go. Set as arrival. So that's going to be our flight. We're going to leave from Hobart Airport, my hometown, and we're going to fly. I think we're going to take a scenic flight and go up the east coast of Tasmania here, past Mariah Island, up here to see if we can see Wineglass Bay, which should be right around here, and then we will continue off to Launceston and hopefully touch down and make a good landing and not crash. So that's the plan. That's what we're going to do. So without further ado, let's jump in. I like how it says you can go anywhere in the world. Which is a rather bold statement to be making in 2020, let's be honest, but at the same time it's great to be able to get out and about somehow. So, that's a very nice picture we're faced with there. I don't know quite where that is. Looking forward to this flight on my home island of Tasmania. From my first hour or so that I played around with this game, I found it very photorealistic. Now bear in mind I'm not an expert pilot by any means and have had little experience with this game, so don't expect me to be doing stuff by the book, so to speak. So here we are at Hobart Airport. Here's our Cessna, and we're ready to fly. Here's our aeroplane. And we're on the one landing strip in Hobart Airport. So we're going to go down here and we're going to turn off the landing lights. I'm going to turn on the strobe, on the nav, and on the beacon. We're going to disengage the parking brake, which I'm not sure whether that... Where is the parking brake? Okay. We don't need too much assistance there. I'm not sure where the parking brake is on this aircraft, despite me flying this a lot in Microsoft Flight Simulator X, so I think I'm going to just use the joystick. There we go. And let's take off. Back to the outside view, so we can see the view. Increase throttle to about 80%. And off we go. And now lift off. And let's bring our... Let's reset the altimeter. There we go.
You are leaving my airspace frequency change approved.
Let's retract flaps. We'll contact the ATC.
Hobart Tower Cessna Alpha Tree 26 frequency change.
That's what I find really handy about this game too. Up the top here it's got this nice little quick action menu here. We'll have a little bit more of a look at that later, but that's how I got to the air traffic control. Very easy to access. So now we're flying into the centre of Hobart, my hometown. You can see the mountain off in the far distance there. That is Mount Wellington. It's the mountain which overlooks Hobart. So we're just flying up along the Tasman Highway down here, which is the two-lane road you can see down there. And that highway leads into the main city of Hobart. So we're just going to take a small detour into the city, and then we're going to turn back around and head out towards the east coast. Here we are, flying over Hobart. In all its glory. You can see this river coming up here, just below us, that separates the two shores. This is called the Derwent River. And this river comes from 240 kilometres north up the island. Our bridge you can see down here going over is the Tasman Bridge. And down here you can see the main CBD of Hobart right here where my mouse is. And Constitution Dock here. Oh, and we're going too quick. And now we're flying directly over the CBD of Hobart. See the famous Salamanca place right here. And of course, the mountain overlooking the city, Mount Wellington, is right ahead. So we'll turn back around now. You can see directly ahead of us this weird little building here poking up. This is Rest Point Casino, and this is the first casino in Australia. Now we're flying back around. And this is Battery Point and Salamanca Place, where the famous Salamanca Markets is. And back over the CBD.
Stall.
Oh, we better be
Stall.
careful with the plane, we don't want to crush it.
Stall.
And of course over here is the Tasman Bridge. So now
Stall.
that we've done that,
Stall.
Let's continue on our flight path over to the east coast of Tasmania.
Stall. Stall.
Oh, bit of slowdown then. So time to get back inside the aircraft and get our autopilot on, I think. So we want to adjust our course. Just trying to see where it adjusts our heading. Oh. There's Cambridge Airport, so we're flying in the right direction. Because we want to fly out to Mariah Island here, and then up to Wineglass Bay here, and then back over to Launceston here. So I just need to figure out how this autopilot works, because as I said, I'm not an expert. Oh, here we go. Heading. So where's our heading indicator? I see, okay. So we want, if we turn on the heading, synchronize to current heading. Then we want to turn the autopilot on, and then so turn to the left, turn to the right, perfect. And now we want to set our altitude at 10,000. Let's try 7,000 and increase vertical speed. Okay, no, altitude's 5,600. Let's make our altitude 6,000. Perfect. And let's have a look at the scenery. So behind us is the Cambridge Airport, Hobart, And now we're flying out to the east coast of Tasmania. Flying at an altitude of 6,000 feet. It's not too bad. The real world weather is pretty well spot on with what I'm seeing outside the window right about now. We might want to turn right a little bit, otherwise we're not going to quite make the island we want to look at. There's the island over there. Let's go over by another 15 degrees. Probably another 10 degrees. Maybe a little bit more. Let's get a bit more. So coming out dead ahead of us here, you'll see these, what looks like two separate islands, but it's all one island. It's called Mariah Island, and it's actually a national park off the east coast of Tasmania. Popular walking and camping, and a very pretty island overall. And make sure we don't go too over speed. But look at the scenery. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Let's decrease the altitude even more. And there we have it. That is the majestic Mariah Island out in front. Quite a spectacle to behold. So I might just disengage the autopilot for a minute. While we do a bit of a flyby of it over the northern part of the island. So you can see coming up ahead of us we have Darlington Airport. Darlington is the main settlement on the island, but it's an old convict settlement. So being that this whole island is now a national park, it's not really a town per se, but there is a grass airstrip here. And I have actually walked over this grass airstrip on many occasions. These two mountain peaks to the right of us are Mount Mariah and Bishop and Clark on the end. I have climbed both these mountain peaks before. And here we are. Here is the main settlement of Darlington down here. And the grass airstrip here at Darlington Airport. And look at that view. Look at those cliffs. Fantastic. Now we leave Mariah Island and we cruise up the east coast of Tasmania. Let's put the autopilot back on. Let's set the altitude down here to maybe 3,000 would do it. And we leave Mariah Island in the behind us. Had trouble finding my words there for a sec. Our performance isn't too bad. We're doing about 60 frames a second, using about 9.5 gigs of RAM. And our GPU usage is about 98%, as I would expect. And we're using about 6 gigabytes of VRAM at the moment. Why is we going up still? I thought we were meant to be holding our altitude. Oh well, it doesn't matter. So next ahead of us, we are visiting the Freycinet Peninsula here. And we want to visit a small little bay called Wineglass Bay that's right here, because it's shaped like a wine glass. So we're going to kind of come into that bay from kind of front on. We might try and get some different angles on it to see how good it looks. So I might go down a bit here. The weather's starting to turn a bit nasty on us. So now we're at the very bottom of the Freycinet Peninsula. So this island we're passing over right now, this is called Shooten Island. There's basically no public access to this island, not unless you catch a boat here. So this whole peninsula we're flying up now is, as I said, Freycinet Peninsula. And this is actually all a national park as well. Check the map and see where we are. Perfect. Because I want to fly us up here and then kind of around into here and then maybe back out into here and then around out to Launceston. This bay you see in here, this is called Great Oyster Bay. One thing's for sure is that this game is utilising every bit of graphics horsepower that I have. So you see this ridge here, and then we want to come around and into the bay. So we're getting there. Ever so slowly. I think we might be about ready to make our turn now. Time to switch off the autopilot. Take some manual control. Let's drop a bit of altitude. You can see these mountains coming up dead ahead of us. Like they go like that. These are called the hazards. And there's a walking track that kind of goes up to the saddle of between two of these mountains, and there's a lookout which looks down on the bay, and it's called Wineglass Bay Lookout. And this is the bay we're coming into now. And there you have it, everyone. Below us right now is the famous Wineglass Bay. And these mountains here are called the hazards. And coming over the other side here, this is the little town on the peninsula. Although the name escapes me at the moment. I'm sure I'll remember as soon as we go past it. But yeah, so that's our look at Mariah Island and Freycinet Peninsula and Wineglass Bay. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. So now we need to get back on track to our landing. So we're going to turn our autopilot back on. We're going to activate flight director mode. We're going to turn off heading. I think that's what I did last time. Maybe not. Oh, nav mode. Maybe that was it. Maybe not. So now we're tuning our autopilot into our flight director and nav plotter, which should get us back on track to land at Launceston Airport. If I'm doing the right thing. We might increase our altitude a little bit, shall we? There we go. Passing Friendly Beaches Airport, right down there. Now let's contact the ATC.
Melbourne Centre Cessna Alpha Tree 26 is type Cessna Caravan 1 miles west of Yankee Foxtrot Romeo India. Request flight following. Cessna Alpha Tree 26 Melbourne Centre. Squawk 5452. Squawk 5452 Cessna Tree 26. Cessna Tree 26 radar contact 2 miles northwest of Yankee Foxtrot Romeo India 3,700 feet. Altimeter 29.13. Copy Cessna Tree 26.
And now we're back on mainland Tasmania and on our way to Launceston Airport. Hopefully I can put this bird down. So if we look at our map, we can see that I'm not too far away from the Launceston Airport.
Cessna Alpha Tree 26 is cleared to Launty Airport as filed. Squawk 5452. Cessna Alpha Tree 26 cleared to Launty Airport as filed. Squawk 5452. Cessna Tree 26 read back correct. Radar contact 4,600 feet. Altimeter 29.13, turn left heading 285 climb and maintain 10,400 feet.
What do they want us to do? Climb and maintain 10,400.
Cessna 326, you are 47 miles southeast. Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect 4 DME runway 32 left approach by DME 13 transition. Cleared to DME 13.
Nope, we're going too quick.
At altitude, expect 4 DME runway 32 left approach by DME 13 transition. Cleared to DME 13 Cessna 326.
Flying through a bit of cloudage. Oh, this game is beautiful. Look at the frame rate. Going down to 40, 45 the lowest I saw it.
Cessna 326, please expedite your climb to 10,400 feet.
Yep, they really want us to go that high. But we're not going to, because we're almost gonna arrive at the airport.
Cessna 326, please expedite your climb to 10,400 feet.
Sorry. We're just gonna do our own thing here.
Cessna 326, please expedite your climb to 10,400 feet.
How far are we from the airport now?
Cessna 326, please expedite your climb to 10,400 feet.
I really wish I could show you guys a proper landing, but unfortunately not this time. Oh, these cloud effects are incredible. It's so fluffy. Let's see how far we are away now. I think I'm going to turn off... What? Synchronize to current heading. And then turn left by quite a bit, I think. And we're gonna swap over to heading.
Your climb to 10,400 feet.
And we're gonna prepare to land. So the runway's about here.
Cessna 326, please expedite your climb to 10,400 feet.
We are getting there.
Cessna 326, please expedite your climb to 10,400 feet.
We're definitely up in the cloud layer.
Cessna 326, please expedite your climb to 10,400 feet.
Wonder what happens if we...
Melbourne Center, Cessna Alpha 326 requesting vector to next waypoint. Cessna 326, continue to DME 13 turning and following heading 245. Continue to DME 13 turning and following heading 245 Cessna 326. Cessna 326, descend and maintain 4,000 feet.
So now they want us to go down.
Cessna 326, did you hear my last transmission?
Well, they get a bit towy unless you acknowledge them, don't they?
Descend and maintain 4,000 feet, Cessna 326.
Now I'm guessing we turn right. By a lot. Bring our speed down. Put our flaps to position 1.
Melbourne Center, Cessna Alpha 326 requesting vector to next waypoint. Cessna 326, continue to DME 11 turning and following heading 320.
I think we might want to drop out of these clouds now.
Cessna 326, acknowledge last transmission.
Bring our altitude down. And yes, we can acknowledge the last transmission.
Continue to DME 11 turning and following heading 320 Cessna 326. Cessna 326, you are 11 miles southeast of Louny. Contact Louny Tower on 118.7 when inbound. Tower on 118.7 Cessna 326. Louny Tower, Cessna Alpha 326, 10 miles southeast, inbound 4 DME runway 32 left approach. Cessna Alpha 326, Louny Tower. Cleared 4 DME runway 32 left approach. Altimeter 29.15 wind 323 at 7. Cleared 4 DME runway 32 left approach, Cessna 326.
Just our luck to get cloudy conditions to land in. I always get a little bit toey around landing time.
Cessna 326, cleared to land runway tree 2 left. Wind tree 21 at 7.
There's the runway. Time to turn off the autopilot and guide her in.
Cessna 326, please acknowledge. Cleared to land runway tree 2 left, Cessna 326.
And there's Launceston Airport. And let's hope my first landing on Flight Sim X can be a good one. Oh, sorry, not Flight Sim X, Flight Sim 2020. Come on, baby. And we're touchdown. And well, we were touchdown. Oh. Reverse thrust.
Cessna 326, contact ground on 118.7.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Well,
Cessna 326, please acknowledge.
I did it.
118.7 Cessna 326.
And that, my friends, is how you not do a perfect landing. That was incredibly lucky that I didn't end up crashing. I guess we might as well taxi off the runway. Not in quite the most conventional sense, I might add. Oh, we crashed. Oh, I have to learn how to operate the brakes. Anyway, that's it, guys. We'll head back to the main menu. That was my introductory flight to Flight Sim 2020. Hope you enjoyed seeing where I come from and where the channel originates and the island I like to call home. If you definitely like this video, then please drop a like, it would help out so much. Alternatively, if you didn't like it, you can drop a dislike as well. But yeah, if you're enjoying the content from the channel, please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. And I'll catch you all next time.